All right. Texas A&M 10,
Tennessee 7 in what I would call one of the most frustrating halves of football. I've watched the Josh Heupel team play in his time here. I'm Charlie Burris. That is former Vols quarterback Jonathan Crompton. And this is the Big Orange Game Day halftime reaction show. Well, what's up, Cromp? Let's just
What's
start.
up?
Man, that was a little bit brutal. We're going to get into all of it just quickly right after I tell you about our great sponsors of this show, BetterHelp. Go to betterhelp.com/ATOZ Sports. Save 10% on your first month with BetterHelp. Zin Sports, the fastest growing sportsbook in Tennessee. Use code A2ZTN to get 5% cash back on your total betting volume for your first 15 days of betting. Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey from Longsail Distillery. Make your own luck, just like Tennessee's fast-paced rattle and snap offense. Not so rattle and snap today with Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey. Your quick reaction to what we just saw, Crump. I mean, not necessarily a total disaster. You're only down by 3,
No.
but it just kind of felt like banging your head against the wall. I feel like. What'd you think?
Excuse me. Initial reaction, just overall, would be receivers aren't getting open. Drop a wide open touchdown. And once again, going back to how when the receivers are not getting open. Because once we've talked about this every week, it's option route galore. A lot of 90% of our routes are quote unquote option routes. So when they're not getting open on them, then we have to hold the ball. Then our O-line can't protect. It's hard, very hard to protect for 3.5, 4 seconds. That type of stuff. But the big thing is we got to stop having holding calls on the run game. I mean, we rushed for, what is it, already 126 yards. But then we take ourselves out of field goal contention right there with holding penalties on the last drive. Those things are the frustrating part. It's frustrating in that sense. The play calls have not changed all year. We take our shots this year. We're not running by people. We don't have that speed guy. And when we don't have that, then we got to make contested catches, which we do not do.
Yep. It's tough to watch. I mean, let's just knock this out so far from that first half. Because I think a lot of people are thinking this. I've already seen people saying it in the comments, so we can just address this. Joe Milton and his play there. I think in those first couple of drives, you started to feel that this where finally he plays to the point where people are really calling for Nico and this, they're wanting to change. He got it together a little bit, but not really. I think one of the biggest points of contention is that he looks like he's scared running the football until the very end of that half. For some reason, he trucked the guy finally, which was nice to see, and then stood over them and taunted him. Thankfully, he didn't get a flag. But what'd you think of his first half performance? It was looking a little dicey there.
I mean, here's the thing: we're going to talk about it every week, and eventually, it gets old as hell. Like, I'm just going to be completely honest with you. It gets old having the same goddamn conversation every week. Well, this. It doesn't matter if he goes 9 for 10 for 150 yards. Somebody's going to say he's terrible. All right. The bottom line is catch the damn ball, regardless of what we want. He's going to play. Does that make sense? So that's the brutal reality of the situation. All right. No, when you get behind somebody, catch the ball. He's dropped 3 wide open touchdowns this year. 3. I'm talking about like nobody around you. It is what it is. I understand the frustration from the fans, but the bottom line is it ain't gonna change. He's playing unless he gets hurt. Or unless they're thinking something in-house that they're not telling us. But what they're saying in the media and the public is he's the guy. Yeah. So is there a little shakiness? Yes. But, for people that are going, we called a draw on third and blah, blah, blah. We did that last year too.
Yeah, that's just situational.
Same guys, it's the same play calls. This year, we're just not catching the deep balls. We caught a wide, like a crazy majority last year, which was awesome. Obviously, we're not catching them. That's the stuff that makes it look like the inconsistency's there, right? Because it is there. Does that make sense? Like it is, but when you're winning games, winning cures everything. That's just the reality.
How I think I would frame with Milton is I would say Milton is not it. Like he just is not. He's in his 6th year in college. He's not gonna be that guy that can drag your team to a victory. And if he is, we haven't seen it. I think he's played enough games at this point where we could say that. I have never seen it, and I don't think I'm gonna see it. He just is not that guy. At the same time, I think these things are both true. That's true. And then it's also true that they're not going to change the quarterback. They're just not. I like whether it's Nico's not ready, Nico's too young. They just want to preserve him. Whatever behind the scenes thing is going on, they're not going to change. And that's the situation that Tennessee is in. So you lean on the run game, and that's, as you were saying, it's working. But then you're getting holding penalties at home.
Yeah.
But
watch this. I'll take it another step further. It goes back to 3rd and 17. Stop giving up 20-yard dig routes. Then you're not having a conversation with Joe Milton. So what I'm getting at is, no matter what happens, you're always going to blame the quarterback. The secondary we've talked about all year is not playing well. They're not, point blank. But instead of us talking about the secondary, 2 like pretty big 3rd downs that we give up, but we're sitting here having to talk about Joe Milton rather than, well, why don't we get off the field on 3rd down, right? That's a good point.
I mean that one
is what it is.
Yeah, it's brutal. You can't.
So what I'm getting, it's not just Joe. I'm not saying he's the answer. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just saying it's not just Joe. We have other issues that we gotta fix. We've talked about all year. Our secondary is not playing well. Our front 7 plays well. Our front 7 does play well. We get pressure. Hey, but we can't give up 20-yard dig routes on 3rd and 17.
Yeah, I mean, James Pierce a flat out dog. But yeah, you just when like all in that same play, like James Pierce, Tyler Barron make a play, and then the DBs just, obviously they give up 18 yards, and then it just that can't happen. But we got to get to a sponsor segment here. Pay the bills for this halftime show. Let's talk about the BetterHelp. Who can better help Tennessee in the second half win this game? You're only down by 3. We already covered it. Now you're struggling, but somebody has to step up. There has to be something that happens, and we're gonna talk about who that needs to be right after I tell you about BetterHelp. If you're a Tennessee fan like me in Crompton, you know how many years the Big Orange have shaved off your life with the emotional roller coaster of college sports, or maybe the roller coaster of life is messing with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals. Regardless, if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human being going through a hard time, therapy can give you tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's where BetterHelp comes into play. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable, more accessible. And it's an important mission because finding a therapist can be hard, especially when you're limited to just the options in your area. BetterHelp's platform makes finding a therapist easier because it's online and remote. BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. Plus, with our link, betterhelp.com/JTOZ Sports, you get 10% off your first month. See a therapist because maintaining your mental health is just as important as maintaining your physical health. So this football season, check out betterhelp.com/ATOZ Sports and save 10% off your first month. I'll throw it to you, Crump. Who can better help Tennessee in the second half? Who's it going to be? Who's going to be the X factor that could take Tennessee over the finish line?
Offensive line, stop getting holding calls so we can run the ball.
That easy.
I mean, we're running the ball pretty well. I really think the O-line's got to step up a little more in the sense of in big. Every play's technically big, but in really crucial situations, we can't have negative penalties. We can't, I know we play fast, but we got to eliminate false starts. We talked about that from last year, but we got to really eliminate holding calls, and it's starting to seem like it's becoming one and or two guys getting majority of those calls.
Yep. I mean, I think it with it being Ollie Lane really being targeted there, I think you see the value of shifting him away from center and having Cooper Mays back because he was playing center before. And now Andre Carrick is hurt, and Andre Carrick is not. I don't think he's some silver bullet for you at that spot, but he's better.
Yeah.
He's better than Ollie Lane, and that's it's pretty glaring at this point. It's no offense to Ollie Lane. He the man is doing his best, but this SEC football, you got to have the guy that can win in that spot, and he's just not doing it right now. I 100% agree. I mean, to me, it has to be the running backs in the second half. I think the Texas A&M's offense is probably going to get theirs, maybe 14-ish points. I'm going for them, maybe 24 in the second half. Tennessee has to score 30. I think you got to get to 30, and it's got to be, and adds a ton of points right now. That's 23 points. That's a huge half. Do I think Tennessee can do that? They can do that.
Yes, we can, but will they is the question.
Exactly. You got to win on the ground, no holding penalties, and it's gotta be Dylan Sampson, it's gotta be Jalen Wright, it's gotta be Jabari Small. And then when the ball comes to the wide receivers, they got to make that play. But this game has to be won on the ground. That is where you're winning right now. Joe Milton is not going to take you there because he just, as I said before, he's not going to get replaced, but he's not that guy. He's just not the guy that's going to drag you across to a victory. I think that's pretty clear at this point. And so it's incumbent on the running backs. And I mean, it's probably the best running attack in the SEC. Go out and win an SEC football game is what I would say right now. But you do turn to the defense just quickly. I mean, James Pierce, man, I'll say this at this point. Enjoy the fact that he's here, because first of all, from the way that he's playing at the moment, he's not staying second past next season, and he shouldn't. He needs to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
He's an absolute dog. And so that's really special. The DB's got to get it together, but that's going to be true for the rest of the season every single week. They have been a weak point. They continue to be a weak point. Even they make plays, but not enough plays. And so there's that. But we'll finish the halftime show with this. Tennessee's a 3.5 point, 3.5, 3, right after something like that coming into this game. It was basically the advantage of Neyland Stadium on a neutral field.
Yes.
It's kind of a draw. And the question is Tennessee going to win? And for the betting folks out there who maybe are betting on our next sponsors in sports, will they cover? We'll talk about it right after I tell you about Zen Sports. It is football season, and it's time to switch to Zen Sports, the fast-growing sports book in Tennessee, changing the bonus game with their cash rewards program. When you sign up for Zen Sports with code A2ZTN, earn a welcome bonus that gives you 5% cash back on your total betting volume for your first 15 days of betting. It's an insane offer. And then listen to this. If you have friends who bet on sports, share your Zen Sports referral bonus code with them, and you will earn 3% of their betting volume for their first 6 months of betting on Zen Sports with no cap on how much you can earn. What are you waiting for? Stop wasting time and money on other sports books when you could be earning real cash rewards with Zen Sports. Download today on the App Store or at zensports.com, and your wallet will thank you later. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older in Tennessee to bet. Again, 3.5 point favorite. I don't know what the current line is. I would guess A&M is probably favored at this point to win. How you feeling, Cromps? Tennessee pulling this one out?
I mean, I think we will. I think, at the end of the day, I do think our running game is better than A&M's run defense. I saw a comment earlier though, and it kind of made a lot of sense. I'm going to use my words in my, because I don't know where it's at to pull it up. But are we kind of like the USC of the SEC, where we just have to outscore you because we're not going to stop you?
Maybe.
No, it actually made some sense. And I'm saying that not a slight on the defense, but that's kind of a shot at our offense that we only have 7 points. And so another comment asked me, what would I do to get the pass game going? Stop running option routes. Run design routes, so therefore we don't have to hold the ball for 3 seconds. If it's a 10 and out, my God, it's a 10 and out. It's not a 10 and out or a 10 and in or a 10 and. You see what I'm saying? Like those things are where it does make him look indecisive. And that goes for anybody in the system when that's all we run is option routes. I like a good option route. I do. But there's a time and a place for the option routes. You know what I'm saying? Like not every route has to be a three-way go. That's a lot of our playbook. So that's what I would change personally is I would say, yeah, we're going to have 4 or 5 plays of that. But then we need 25 that are design concepts. Like this is the concept. He's running this, he's running this, he's running this, he's running this. Here's how we read it. We don't do that though. That is an issue, in my opinion. It just, and as Darren says, thinking too much. Well, that option routes do make you think too much. They do, because you have to be guessing what your guy's doing. So that's just my issue with it.
Yeah, Joe's already a little bit of a head case. I mean, I think his situational awareness is definitely not great. And I would agree with that. Just is what it is.
I would definitely agree with that because we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago. Sorry, that A&M is a good team. They were not going to come here and lay down. I said Max Johnson he's a solid quarterback. Right, he is, and he's showing it today. He's tough as nails, and he plays to the level he needs to play. We're not giving our players the ability to do that either, though.
So, well, I'll bring this up. Super chat, just because Timothy is a paying customer here. I love our offense, but we need Joe to go under center and give the running backs time to pick up speed through the holes. I would love to see. I mean, you ran a little bit of under center, weird little like fullback concepts last year, and there hasn't been any of that in short yardage. It does feel like Tennessee's running the ball, but they are struggling in short yardage situations. I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, I completely agree with you, Crump. And you would be one to know as the head coach of Tuscola, right? Is that the correct pronunciation? You last night won the big game against Pisgah. And congratulations on that. But yeah, you know what you're talking about, no doubt. And so I mean, I completely agree. But it just you have to capitalize on the opportunities that you get. Stop with the penalties,
no doubt.
I mean, man, it's like it's not the toughest thing about this is if you end up losing this game, it is the last like winnable big game at home that you have. You got to go to Kentucky, you got to go to Alabama, you got to go to Missouri. You got Vandy at home. And Georgia. Now, well, I say that. Okay, so you got Georgia at home. I misspoke there. But yeah, Georgia at home. But there's obviously everybody else that I just mentioned except for Vandy is in between you and Georgia. It's the last winnable big game at home before Georgia. I will put it that way. And you got to take advantage of this one. It's just with how big this stretch is with the season. You got to pull this one out. You got to gut it out somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, whatever it takes, man. Like this is the one, and I think conversely, Texas A&M fans are feeling like, please, dear God, Jimbo, win a game on the road right now because what is he 0-7 against ranked opponents on the road or something?
Yeah, I mean this game has a lot of implications in a lot of ways. Obviously, Tennessee's SEC East, like where we're going to kind of fall the rest of the season for us as far as it not getting easier, and then Jimbo keeping a job.
Yeah.
I mean, if we pull this out, which I do think we will, but we pull this out, they drop to 4-3, and they're paying him $95 million over the next couple of years. Ugh. Kiss him goodbye.
Yeah, that's tough, but that is a problem for them for another day there. Hopefully Tennessee can pull it out. I think this second half is probably about to start. We're coming right up on 20 minutes. Thank you to everybody who's watching. Come to the post-game show. Obviously, right after the game, we'll be right back here talking about whatever happens. If Tennessee pulls it out, if Tennessee loses, we're going to discuss the whole thing, talk about the Alabama game next week, too, as this is really a setup for that. And we'll discuss it all. Charlie Burris, former Vols quarterback Jonathan Crompton, thanks again for watching, and we'll talk to y'all right after the game.